polio? What about measles? What about tetanus and all these other? And if you look into, again, and I'm not able to recall all this information offhand, but in the case of polio, I mean, it was pretty much already eradicated by the time the vaccine came along. And then it's like, now everyone is just under the assumption, well, we don't have polio because of the vaccine. And it's like, well, what about like FDR? Well, if you actually look at it, he probably didn't even have polio. He probably had some other illness, disease that just didn't have a name. In the same way that I do think there is a very real problem with some sort of neurological condition going on, especially in our youth. But we call it autism or, Asperger's.
Right.
What does that even really mean? I think, and this is not going to be a popular opinion, but I think a lot of it comes from lack of parents putting time into developing their kids when they're really young and not speaking with them, not communicating with them. And by the time
daycare right away,
that the time they're 6, 7 years old, like, hey, they're behind. They're not like really communicating properly. And it's like, how much were you actually communicating with them as a child in a way that, allowed them to develop these language skills? And again, not saying that's all of it.
But I will say, and not going so deep into it, I don't have children. Most of my friends at this point are either grandmothers, but I just don't remember anybody having autism, when I was growing up. I'm 75 years old. So in my neighborhood, it's a very diverse neighborhood. There's people my age. There's a lot of young families. One of my neighbors, she had a baby. They were childless when I first met them, and now they have 2 kids. And one day, her husband gave me a boost. My car battery died, and so I returned the he had one of those jump starters. So I went to her husband. Somehow we get on the conversation, and I start, catching up with her. She said, yeah, my daughter has special needs. I said, what are you talking about, special needs? I mean, she got her on the Carter's. She submitted her to the Carter's ads, for the, kids' clothes and everything. Yep. I said, she was a model. What happened? She said, oh, she's got like no muscle strength. She's walking with a walker. She's 3 or 4 years old. She's in a special needs, kind of schooling or whatever. And another friend of mine, he came in to buy a washing machine from me at Home Depot, and he brought his wife with his daughter. And I could see immediately, I know these little kids, they don't have patience in Home Depot, But no, she was carrying on. And then he had told me that she's nonverbal. And we had like 3, he remembers better. Kennedy remembers better. I think we had 3 vaccines when we were children. And now they're up to somewhere like 73 to 90, depending on what state. Yeah. That a child, that they can actually justify a newborn getting an HPV, the hepatitis B vaccine if the mother was not in the hospital, if she just brought in a kid, brand new newborn. But if they're in the hospital and that's where they're giving birth, they test them for HIV or any sexually transmitted diseases. Right. So if the mother is clean, why would you give this child that's a newborn? He didn't go to the street corner to buy some drugs, and he didn't have unprotected sex, or she. This is Big Pharma's grab. And I think Kennedy is right when he said they have that liability shield. If he doesn't get rid of these commercials, there is a pill or an injection for everything. Yep. And I don't even know what it's for. I don't even know how the person would know what it's for. They don't even tell you what it's for half the time. Yeah. It's
you're feeling sad or you're feeling fat or, whatever. And we have this miracle drug for you. But hey, just know, look at all, and, they state all of the side effects, but you don't think those same sort of side effects, oftentimes, you'll hear a commercial, including death.
Right. That's a bad side effect in general,
it's
right?
Like, you don't think that's a possibility for vaccines as well, that are literally just another medicinal product, right?
And, he spoke about this very recently. I caught a short clip. So they had, when they allowed them to start advertising, whatever, they had to disclose. But there were so many side effects that they came to an agreement that it would be the ones that showed up the most or the most severe or whatever it was, because otherwise the commercials would go on for like 5 minutes. So they do, of course, have to, disclose it on the black box or, on the website or whatever. But these aren't even all the side effects. I mean, you have a 30-second commercial, right, and they got to still dance around a little bit and, make you think that you can,
that we're going to cure your life.
Yeah. And we're right. Your diabetes, the little shot. And, I do have to say he was caught in this clip with, he had a little interview with Martha McCallum, Martha McCallum, she's a Fox contributor, blonde, very intelligent, she's on his side. Martha McCallum, yeah. So Kennedy did get, he promoted that these GLPs get Medicare pay for them. So she said, Mr. Kennedy, you were against these,